Welcome to Wisdom Unveiled. Today, we're diving deep again, our 36th exploration into the world of Attar Nishapur.
That's right, the incredible 12th century Persian poet and mystic. We're really embarking on a profound journey here, guided by his wisdom.
And our source material, as usual, comes from those really insightful conversations with Dr. Ibrahim Dinani and Dr. Ismail Manzouri Larijani, the Iranian philosophers from the Maurifat recordings.
Yep, and our mission remains the same. Dig into these rich discussions, pull out the core ideas, and, offer you a kind of shortcut to understanding some really deep stuff. Maybe uncover a few surprising things along the way, too.
Right. And just that quick mandatory note, this is a translation of conversations with Iranian philosophers, so some details might not be fully conveyed. We do apologize if there are any discrepancies.
But we really think the essence, the core wisdom, definitely comes through.
So today we're looking at how Attar uses these, transformative parables, stories, to get us to look past the obvious, right? To find truths hidden inside ourselves.
Exactly. And Attar's teaching style itself is just fascinating. He doesn't really do dry philosophy, abstract arguments.
No lectures.
No lectures. Instead, it's all about these captivating stories, these parables woven into his poetry. It's a very deliberate choice he makes.
So it's less about him telling you this is the answer and more about leading you to figure it out yourself.
Precisely. He's a master of something called kinaya. It means indirect speech, implication.
Ah, okay.
And there's this idea that implication, suggesting something indirectly, is often much more eloquent, more powerful than just stating it outright, because it makes your mind work. You have to engage, sort of unpack the meaning yourself.
So you're not just passively receiving information, you're actually partnering in the discovery.
Exactly. You become a partner. And that active role makes the insight land deeper, makes it stick. It actually reminds me a bit of how the Quran uses what it calls asan al-qasas.
The best of stories.
The best of stories, yeah. For those with uli al-absar, which means inner vision, or you could say deeper sight, the truth is embedded in the story, but you need that inner sight to really grasp it, to see beneath the surface.
And this whole idea cultivating inner sight, it just perfectly sets up one of Vedar's most famous parables, doesn't it? The one about the man, the guest, and the dog.
Oh, it's a fantastic story. Really gets you thinking. So Attar tells us about this man, a seeker, who prays fervently to God, please send me a guest.
He wants that divine connection, that blessing.
Yes. And God promises him one, says a guest will arrive the very next day.
So the man is thrilled. He cleans, he prepares, gets his house absolutely perfect, probably expecting some luminous figure, right?
You'd think so. He's got these high expectations. But the next morning, he opens the door, and it's a dog.
Just a dog. Not quite what he had in mind.
Not at all. He's disgusted, maybe even offended. He drives the poor dog away, shoos it off.
And then wait.
And waits all day. No human guest shows up. He's confused, probably feeling let down, maybe even angry with God.
And then the reveal comes in a dream.
Exactly. That night, he dreams, and God tells him, plain and simple, the dog was the guest I sent you. The very blessing he prayed for. And he rejected it because it didn't fit his picture.
Wow. So what's the deeper layer here? It's obviously not just about being nice to animals, though that's important too.
No, it's much deeper. Attar is really pushing us to shift our whole way of seeing, to move beyond what he calls zahiri, which is that superficial, external way of looking at things.
Just seeing the surface.
Right. Towards batini, which is a deep internal seeing, an inner perception.
He wants us to cultivate this haqiqat-bin, is that the term?
Yes, haqiqat-bin, a truth-seeing eye. It's like an intellectual or inner vision.
So with this truth-seeing eye, you could look at something unexpected, maybe even something considered lowly or unclean, like the dog in the story.
Or really any being, any situation.
And see the potential for divine connection. See it as God's guest in disguise.
Precisely. The man's issue wasn't the dog itself. It was his own rigid mental box. His preconceived notions, his expectations about what a blessing should look like. He was trapped by his own ideas.
He couldn't see past his own framework, so Attar talks about distancing yourself from yourself to overcome this. What does that mean, practically?
It's about peeling back layers, shedding the illusions we build up about ourselves, about the world, letting go of the ego's demands, those conditioned expectations we inherit or create, even our fantasies about who we are.
It sounds like trying to get back to some core true self underneath all that noise.
That's a great way to put it, like clearing away static on a radio so you can finally hear the actual signal. It's about intentional detachment, clearing out the inner clutter. It actually reminds me a bit of the kind of space people try to create during Ramadan, that focus allows for clearer spiritual perception.
And if someone manages to do this, to cultivate this ḥaqiqat-bin, this truth-seeing eye, what's the result? Attar describes a huge transformation, right?
Huge is an understatement. Attar says if you achieve this, suddenly all beings, everything around you, can be seen as manifestations of the divine. And interestingly, you shift from being the one waiting for a guest to becoming the host, not just of your little house, but like the host of the entire world.
Wow.
As Attar puts it so beautifully,
Yeah.
a human is an eye. The rest is skin. The eye is what sees the friend. The core of being human for him is this capacity for true sight, for recognizing the divine friend in everything.
From rejecting a dog out of disgust to becoming the host of the world, that's an incredible shift in perspective. And it leads us neatly into another key idea from Attar, doesn't it? This idea of the inner well, the wisdom found within.
Yes, exactly. This comes from another of his major works, the Mysticism, the Book of Afflictions. He tells a story about a complete person, a camel, someone spiritually realized.
Okay.
And this camel encounters a stranger, a bigane, someone still lost, you could say. And this stranger is obsessively cleaning his physical house, just scrubbing and polishing all day long.
And Attar uses this cleaning as a metaphor.
Right. It represents the stranger's total focus on his physical body, the external. The camel watches him and then asks, essentially, why are you spending all your energy cleaning this house? Instead, dig a well, a chah, in your heart, in your inner being.
So the physical house is the body, the temporary shell. The real work is digging this inner well. What does the well represent? What you find down there?
That's the key. Attar says this inner well leads you to the water of gnosis, mirfat. Gnosis meaning deep intuitive knowledge, spiritual understanding.
Okay, mirfat.
Which he also calls the water of life, abi hayat. It's the source of eternal life, found only by turning inward. If you keep seeking fulfillment only outside yourself, Attar has this incredibly vivid phrase for it. You're begging on a treasure. Sargon Jigedai Mikoni.
Begging on a treasure, sitting on this immense inner wealth, but begging for scraps externally. Wow.
Exactly. Because Attar implies there's nothing truly eternal in this fleeting world except this inner gnosis, this marifat.
And Attar, being this master poet, conveys these deep thoughts through language itself. How does he see the connection between our thoughts and our words?
He has this fascinating idea that Sokanen, which means speech, or the word, is the house of thought.
The house of thought.
Yeah. Thought needs a place to reside, to take root, and that place is language. He says, every being have a house. Speech is where thought makes its home. And if you have speech without real thought behind it, it's just noise, it's empty.
So Attar's poetry is powerful because it provides a fitting house for profound thoughts.
Beautifully put. His articulation gives those deep ideas their proper dwelling place.
Now, connected to this inner world, Attar makes this really profound statement. Adam was two worlds. Adam Hardu Alamambud, what's he getting at there?
This is huge. It's one of his core teachings about human nature. He's saying humans are unique because we're composed of two distinct realms, two worlds simultaneously.
Okay, what are the two worlds?
Well, first there's the physical world, the tan. That's our body, our flesh and bones, part of the material universe, subject to its laws.
Right, the tangible part.
But then there's this entirely different realm, the non-physical, our endisha. This means our thought, our intellect, our consciousness.
And he's saying this thought, this indicia, doesn't just arise from our physical brain.
That's his crucial point. He argues that thought doesn't originate from the brain cells. It comes from another realm altogether, a world of pure meaning, the world of mosharadat, or abstractions.
So the brain is more like the hardware that allows thought to interact with the physical world.
Exactly. The brain cells are the tools, the interface. But the source of thought itself is non-physical. Think about it. Qualities like virtues, courage, justice, generosity, or vices for that matter, where do they come from? They aren't properties of rocks or trees. They arise from the higher realm of thought, indicia.
That makes sense. You don't find justice under a microscope.
Yeah.
So our deeper human qualities, our ethics, our ability to reason about abstract things, they stem from this non-physical world.
Precisely. That source is thought, and thought comes from beyond the physical. That's the heart of humans being two worlds. Our body, the tan, is finite, it decays. But our thought, indicia, is our bridge to the infinite.
How so? A bridge to the infinite?
Because only human thought can conceive of the non-finite. We can think about concepts like infinity, eternity, the necessary being God, which are inherently non-finite. Our physical senses are limited, but our thought can reach beyond those limits. Contingent beings, everything in creation, are finite. Only the necessary being is non-finite, and only human thought can grasp that.
Okay, I see. That's a profound distinction. So going back to that inner well, if it's not about physical digging, how do we access it? How do we reach that marifat?
Attar gives this beautiful, almost paradoxical instruction. Sighing is necessary, not digging work.
Sighing, not jigging.
Yes. He suggests that a deep sigh, a true ah, isn't just breath. If it comes from the depths of that inner well, it's a sign that there is depth within you. If there's no inner depth, no well, then it's just ordinary breathing, mechanical. But a sigh born of longing, of dard, that comes from the well.
So the sigh itself is evidence of the well's existence, proof of that inner dimension. That's incredibly poetic.
Isn't it? And this marifat, this gnosis found in the well, it can reach a point where it deepens even further. It can actually transform from intellectual understanding into pure love, ashk, and even ecstasy.
Knowledge becomes love.
Yes. Attar calls this state nori me, literally, light wine. The knowledge becomes so luminous, so intoxicatingly beautiful that it emerges completely with love. It's a spiritual intoxication born from deep inner knowing.
Light wine.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
And this inner transformation, this wellspring of gnosis and love, it connects to that idea of the human heart being the very throne of God, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. There's that famous saying, often attributed as a hadith qudsi, Kolumumanu Arshuraman, the heart of the believer is the throne of the All-Merciful. Attar would say the light of that throne is the light of Adam's heart, meaning the heart of the perfected human being.
And when we're talking about the inner heart here, the center of consciousness and gnosis, not the physical organ.
Exactly. It's the seat of that marifat, the place where the divine resides within the human who has dug that inner well.
Okay, so we've looked at Attar's teaching method, the inner well. Now let's shift to something maybe a bit more confronting. His parable about Pharaoh and Satan. This one sounds pretty intense.
Oh, it is. It's stark. Attar doesn't pull any punches here. He sets up this scene. Satan confronts Pharaoh. The Pharaoh famous for declaring, I am your Lord, the Most High.
The ultimate egomaniac.
The ultimate. So Satan performs this miracle right in front of him. He takes a handful of ordinary sand and poof, turns it into gleaming pearls. Then, just as easily, turns the pearls back into sand.
A real display of power, something Pharaoh, despite his claims, could never do.
Exactly. And then Satan challenges him directly. You claim to be the Most High Lord. Go on then, do that. Turn this sand into pearls.
And of course Pharaoh can't. He's completely powerless.
He has to admit it. No, I
Yeah.
can't do that. His grand claim is instantly exposed as hollow. But here's where Attar delivers the real gut punch. Satan doesn't then try to recruit Pharaoh or gloat or anything like that.
No, what does he do?
He utterly rejects Pharaoh. He basically says, you're so weak, so pathetic. Your claims are so baseless. I wouldn't even accept you as my slave. He finds Pharaoh's arrogance contemptible because it's built on absolutely nothing.
Wow. Even Satan is disgusted by that kind of empty ego. That's quite an insight from Attar.
It really is. Attar is showing us that Pharaoh's colossal ego, his God complex, isn't a sign of strength at all. It's the opposite. It signals profound spiritual weakness, a deep inner emptiness, a terrifying loneliness. It's the absolute lowest, most diluted state of the nafs, the ego, the lower self, just pure self-deception covering a void.
And this story really highlights a connection Attar wants us to grasp between two key concepts, tabir and taghir. Can you unpack those?
Yes, taghir means interpretation, but specifically it's about self-perception, how you see yourself, how you interpret your own reality.
Okay, tabir is self-perception.
And taghir means change, transformation, the power to change things, including yourself.
Got it. Tabir and taghir.
So the parable shows Pharaoh couldn't achieve taghir. He couldn't change the sand because his tabir, his self-perception, was completely false. He interpreted himself as a god, but the reality was impotence. His tabir was broken.
So the message is, you can't genuinely change or transform anything, yourself or your situation, if your fundamental understanding of yourself is flawed.
That's the absolute foundation. You need an accurate tabir before any real lasting taghir is possible. It reminds me of that incredibly powerful saying from Imam Ali, the wise is he who knows his worth. True wisdom doesn't start with knowing external facts, like astronomy or physics. It starts with self-knowledge, with seeing yourself clearly, without the ego's illusions and false claims. Only from that place of honest self-interpretation can real change begin.
And Attar doesn't just leave this as a story about some ancient pharaoh, does he? He brings it right home.
He makes it incredibly personal. He drops this bombshell. Pharaoh is your naths.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's pointing the finger directly at us, at the reader, at you listening. He's saying that same arrogant, self-deceiving, fundamentally weak inner pretender exists inside every single one of us.
Yeah.
That lower self, the nafs, that's our inner Pharaoh.
The part of us that puffs itself up makes claims it can't back up.
Exactly. And it's insatiable, isn't it? The Quran calls this aspect, the nafs al-amara bisu, the self that constantly incites towards negativity, towards base desires. Rumi had that amazing image of it being a hungry dragon that could swallow the world and still roar for more.
That hungry dragon.
Yeah. So Attar, like many mystics, points to this fundamental choice, this duality within us. We have the potential to be the master of ourselves or the slave of ourselves.
Master or slave of oneself, that puts it starkly. How do we become the master?
Mastery comes through engaging our higher faculties,
Yeah.
our intellect, our reason, our ability to discern truth from falsehood, and our connection to divine guidance, our spiritual principles, our higher values. That's the master within.
And slavery.
Slavery results from being ruled by hawa, our whims, passions, raw desires, our lower impulses. And those are driven by the nafs, by that inner Pharaoh, that hungry dragon. It's all about free will, isn't it? We have this incredible gift of choice, unique in creation perhaps, but it comes with this immense risk, the freedom to choose badly, to let the nafs and hawa take the reins.
That is a sobering thought, the weight of that freedom, that responsibility. And speaking of inner states, there's one more crucial concept from Attar we need to touch on. Dard.
Ah, yes, Dard. But it's important to understand this isn't just ordinary pain or suffering, like, stubbing your toe or feeling grief. Attar talks about a sweet pain.
Sweet pain. That sounds like a paradox. How can pain possibly be sweet?
It's a very specific spiritual feeling. This dard is a deep yearning, a kind of spiritual homesickness. It's a longing for our divine origin, for reunion with the source from which we came.
Okay, a longing for home, but why sweet?
It's sweet because the very existence of that ache, that feeling of separation or longing, is paradoxically a sign of connection. It proves you remember where you came from, or at least sense it. It testifies to your true origin. And that ache itself becomes a powerful motivator. It fuels the spiritual journey, the desire to return, to seek completion. It's a pain that pushes you towards something beautiful.
I think I get it. The longing itself contains a trace of what's longed for, and that has a sweetness. And this dard, this deep yearning, connects directly to Attar's critique of how we value things, or rather misvalue them.
Oh, absolutely. He throws this incredibly sharp question right at us, at humanity. He says something like, you know the price of every commodity. You know what gold costs, what spices cost, but your own worth, the value of your own soul, Chan, you do not know. Oh, foolish one.
Oof. That lands hard, especially today. We spend so much energy calculating the value of external things, possessions, status, things that ultimately fade.
Things that decay, yeah. And yet we remain largely ignorant, or maybe just neglectful, of the incalculable value of our own inner essence, our Jan, our soul.
Attar really laments this, doesn't he? He sees it as a terrible mistake.
A terrible bargain, he calls it. He says that basically, we gambled away the soul for the sake of the body and didn't recognize the soul's value even one bit. He warns that being totally consumed by bodily desires, by the demands of the nafs, can actually paralyze the soul, trap it. It's a fundamental misplacement of priorities, sacrificing the eternal for the temporary.
A truly terrible bargain, selling the diamond within for, what, fleeting pleasures. So what's the key then? How do we avoid making this terrible bargain, according to Attar?
The key, he suggests, is humility. Real humility, he states it very plainly. He who is not humble in his own eyes, God has no business with him. Or, put another way, for one who lacks humility, there's no real path to connecting with the divine.
And humility here isn't about being meek or having low self-esteem, right?
Not at all. It's about seeing reality clearly. It's about recognizing your own limitations, your own inner Pharaoh-ness, acknowledging your dependence on something higher. It's about accurate self-perception, that correct tabir we talked about. That honest seeing is the doorway to anything beyond the ego.
So if we try to pull all these incredible threads from Attar together, this need for inner sight, the haqiqat-bin, unmasking the ego, our inner Pharaoh, tapping into that deep inner well of marifat and truly understanding the value of our soul, our John, it paints a really cohesive picture, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a profound, interconnected map for inner transformation. That story of Pharaoh and Satan, for instance, is not just a story. It's like Attar holding up a mirror to our own ego. A reminder that true strength isn't in bluster and claims, but in that honest self-perception, that accurate tabir.
Which just highlights again how vital that self-knowledge is. Knowing your actual worth, your Jan, your soul, not your bank account or job title, that seems to be the absolute starting point for any real change, any meaningful taghir in your life. Without it, like you said, you're just building on sand.
And it's about learning to recognize that voice of the nafs, that hungry dragon inside, seeing its patterns, its demands, its deceptions, and then consciously choosing to use our higher tools, our intellect, our equal, our spiritual compass, our din, to actually navigate, to be the master, not the slave.
Letting the master rule the slave within rather than the other way around. It's really about claiming that authentic inner freedom that Attar keeps pointing towards.
So maybe, for you listening right now, it's worth pausing just for a moment and reflecting. What subtle, maybe even unconscious Pharaoh-like delusions might be running the show in your life sometimes?
Yeah, what unexamined habits or maybe just false ideas you hold about yourself could be keeping your own inner Pharaoh from admitting his weakness and maybe, just maybe, keeping you from accessing your own true strength, your real potential.
And think about this. How could really grasping your inherent worth, not your status, not your achievements, but your John, your essential soul, how could that be the incredible first step towards the kind of authentic freedom and connection Attar is talking about?
And finally, that feeling, that subtle pain that maybe sweet Dart Attar describes. If you feel any kind of longing inside for something deeper, something more meaningful than the day-to-day, what might that feeling actually be telling you?
Could it be an invitation? A nudge from within? A prompt to start looking inward, to genuinely seek your origin, your true home, and maybe, just maybe, to finally step onto that path of real self-discovery?
Really powerful questions to ponder. Definitely things to sit with, explore in your own time, in your own inner world. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive here on Wisdom Unveiled.
It's been a pleasure. We really hope you'll continue exploring these incredible, timeless ideas. Until next time, keep seeking, keep asking those deep questions, and keep growing.